President Williams. I am here. Wonderful. Thank you. We have a quorum. May we now stand for the pledge? I.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We will now entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Mrs. Smith?
I move that the Board of Education approve the May 19, 2026 regular meeting agenda as presented.
Support.
Motion made by Trustee Smith, supported by Trustee, I'm doing it now. What is going on?
Walker.
Walker.
What was in these bundt cakes?
We should have a retreat and get to know each other.
Motion made by Trustee Smith, supported by Trustee Walker to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? That motion passes. All right, clearly some of the adults are getting senioritis too. We apologize. I do want to acknowledge a belated birthday for Trustee Hull. Happy birthday. It's a big one, big 3-0. Big 3-0.
Yes.
Happy early birthday to me as well. I'm younger than you.
All right.
No?
21.
Yeah, exactly. Earlier today, congratulations to all of the retirees. We were able to have a retirement celebration just a short while ago for 20 of our many retirees, and I was really impressed, is probably the right word. When I heard about all of the recognitions that our teachers and staff have had over the years, the impact that they've had on students, the impact on families, the changes that they've made to lives, I'm just really floored by that. I'm impressed by that. And I'm also saddened for us because we're losing 5, in some cases, 25, 30, 40 years in some cases of experience. And in an environment, you know, like we are in right now with education, that startles me. I am very, very happy for those who are retiring, and I'm sure they have well-deserved retirement plans. But for us, I am saddened because we are really losing some great people, really wonderful people. I will move on to Student Roundtable. We had a really good discussion with the Student Roundtable earlier today. I learned more about their goal setting. These are some incredible young people. They have lots of interest in being involved and letting us know what they're thinking. They talked a lot about mental health and their goals around that. They celebrated each other in all of the spring sports. Many are going on to states, and they voted for officers for the next year. Speaking of seniors, I want to congratulate seniors and parents of seniors. Yes, many of us, 3 of us. Yes, I have a senior. Oh, yes, I do. Along with Trustees Rosento and Hull, we're super busy with award ceremonies and planning and prom and senior all-night parties and graduations and open houses. It is a very bittersweet time. Special shout out to parent volunteers. You matter. Thank you for all that you do. I want to not embarrass anyone, but I do want to recognize Trustee Rosento for all of the volunteering that he's doing around all of the areas, and especially with the senior all-night party and driving around the city like nonstop. That's, especially with the price of gas, man. Appreciate you. And again, graduates, congratulations to you. I look forward to celebrating you. This year, we've got many students receiving scholarships. I'm pretty pleased to announce that we had so many scholarship applications for the Weems Scholarship that we reached down a little bit more into our pocket, and we're going to give out 3 scholarships this year instead of 2. It was just very, very, very hard to decide. I want to shout out to the AKAs of Farmington. They had a really nice event where they collected prom dresses and offered to our students the opportunity to come and pick out a prom dress for free. And I want to thank some of the community members who donated. One was on our way rushing out of town. Julie Poisson dropped some stuff off at my house, and I was able to deliver it to the event. It was so nice to see the young people actually find dresses that suited them, that they liked, they loved, and now they have a wonderful opportunity to look forward to. So thank you for that. I was able to attend the Pretty Brown Girl end of the year celebration, and I loved talking to these young people, third graders, fifth graders. I appreciate sharing my own story about not feeling pretty, not feeling confident or noticed, and the importance of self-awareness and confidence and making good choices and aligning with positive influences. Mrs. Smith was also in attendance at that event, and I also want to thank Sherry Crowley, who started that organization, who lives here in Farmington Hills and has been really, really supportive of all of our girls. Very diverse group of girls. It was really well done, really well done. Thank you to my colleagues who attended the Gala Awards. I think many of you were in attendance for that. Mrs. Heinrich, Mrs. Smith, a couple of you were at the Gala Awards last week, right? Another wonderful event. We had our retreat, our board retreat last weekend. Yes, the Saturday before Mother's Day. Yay, full day. We enjoy it.
And great theme songs.
Yes. So we had theme music. Kelly and Cheryl, or Dr. Coffin, and Trustee Blau had some really sweet music. It was very sweet music. You got the Sweet Award. Mrs. Scripture was really nice. Mine was the funniest, I think. No, I take that back. I think Trustee Heinrich's husband's suggestion for her was actually the funniest. Ron was spot on, Angie was spot on, but yes, Donald took the cake.
Yes, we did.
Very timely and well-themed, my man. It was great. We talked a little bit about succession planning, a really, really good conversation on data. We reviewed the district's dashboard, which is what we're going to do today, as part of one of the discussion items, and I'm also really happy about the proposed enhancements to the dashboard. Thank you to everyone who worked on that. We had a real good conversation about the disconnect that exists between my school data and the aggregation and averaging that's going on in our community, and the data that we look at that is at a much more disaggregated level that's really meant to inform decision making. I appreciate that we were able to reconcile some of those differences. Going forward, I think it's going to be very important to help our community understand what we're looking at, what we're reviewing, and how all of that information informs us and how it's connected to the information that they're reviewing at a higher level, and what the impact of that aggregation is doing. We also had some real conversations around growth. Growth is happening, and it is happening at an accelerated level, meaning more than 1 year of growth, which is really great. We see it in our NWEA scores, but it's not translating into proficiency, which is what our community is looking for. So we appreciate that we've got, more work to do there. We also spent a lot of time talking about discipline, and I want to acknowledge that the board has received and been notified of a number of behavioral issues that I'm not normalizing this at all, but I am saying that that is, in my experience, common in the spring, that we have a little bit of restlessness in the spring. I'm also acknowledging, though, that it is at a much higher level in these past few years than it has been prior to COVID. And I think that is a national trend and a national phenomenon, not unique to Farmington, certainly across the country. I do want to make mention, though, because I have concern for our students who want to learn. I have concern for our parents. I have concern for our teachers who are frankly, sometimes they're suffering abuse here. And I'm talking at the elementary school level, first graders, that hospital visits. This is not good. We've been talking as a board about reviewing our student positive behavioral framework for a while. That's been on my heart, and I want to acknowledge the work of the policy committee in reviewing and highlighting areas that we had concerns about, things that we noticed where there were some inconsistencies, and I want to thank the district for resolving some of those inconsistencies. We noticed, as an example, that the response for the same incident was different at the elementary school level as it was at the secondary level. And so thank you to Allison Robinson for helping to make some of those consequences more clear and more consistent. But I believe that we need to have more real conversations about how we protect our school community, ensure that our students feel safe, ensure that our teachers feel safe. And I want to think through how we do that through policy, if we can do that through policy, or if this is through execution of policy. I'm not sure, but I think it's definitely worth a conversation with the adults. And so I know that this has sat in policy, but policy is huge, and it has a lot of work to do naturally. And so when we get to our next retreat and start talking through our plans for the next year, I will be raising, just so that no one's surprised, the thoughts around how we might do this, whether we need to form a separate committee or look at this a little bit differently, and maybe even how we engage our communities in doing that. I think having some conversations with the PTAs might be good, leveraging the Parent Ambassador Network a bit differently, which also met last week, I forgot to mention. But, you know, not to pontificate too much here, but that's been on my heart, and I know you guys have been reading some of the emails and my calls and briefs to you as well. So our staff needs support. I know that they need help in de-escalation, and I know that things are a lot different than they were 10, 20, 30 years ago. And so I want to open the door for real conversations on this topic, and also understand what resources the district needs to address this, which is all the more reason for me to, begin to understand where we might be able to leverage additional dollars to support our students and our staff through this. With that, I think that ends my announcements. We will now move on to public comment. This is the first public comment period. There are two. I think I see 3 or 4 public comment cards. As a reminder, you have 3 minutes for public comment. I'm going to list your name, excuse me, and then ask you to come to the podium. Please direct your comments to the board rather than the audience. If your comment specifies an individual, please give some consideration as to whether you might not name individuals where anonymity would be more appropriate. With that, the first person that I'm going to call up is Eugene Greenstein, followed by Ian Gibbons.
Good evening and happy birthday, belated or to come.
Thank you.
And I'm sure you were always pretty, Terry.
Oh, stop.
Okay. Good evening. 10 days ago, I sent the board and the administration a copy of the recently published article, Inside the Mississippi Marathon by Rachel Cantor. She was a key player in the development of the Mississippi Miracle over the last 20 years, so her comments are well worth your time. And I think a lot of the ideas in there we can benefit from. Previously, I sent you information on the Steubenville, Ohio, amazing literacy and numeracy performance. In both cases, testing and remediation were key factors. Few students are held back at 3rd grade in Mississippi because of the testing regime and tutoring intervention that's done up front, even though a lot of people are terrified of that idea. They make sure people pass. So now it's budget time, and just like a strategic plan, the budget is also a strategic plan for the coming year. Everything costs money, be it tutors, tests, books, you name it. The public should know what it's costing to remediate literacy and numeracy, or do it right the first time, if you will, and it should be a line item or several in the budget so everyone knows here's what we're doing, because we are doing something, right? We also have a millage coming. How will it be spent? Thank you, and I apologize. I won't be able to stick around to hear the data. I have another meeting to go to. but I'm sure I'll watch the video.
Thank you. Next, we have Ian Gibbons, followed by Ian Gibbons, followed by Bill Lovaway.
Good evening. I have a little bit of a script today, but I'm here as both a hackbot and a student. So I'd like to thank you as the board for your continued understanding of what it means to be an outstanding educational institution. I've been in this district for 12 years, in which I've seen it grow with me and my peers. In everything that I've seen, you've been there. You've been helping our students in any way that you can. Additions beyond the classroom can have exceptional value in educating students, and to say otherwise shows a fundamental lack of understanding of education. Nearly every child will discover who they want to be during their time in school, and it is the fulfilled responsibility of the district to give students opportunities to explore activities that interest them. I attended Farmington STEAM Academy during my years in middle school. I remember in 6th grade, I was given a challenge to design a puzzle in a 3D modeling software called Onshape. I was so frustrated with this. I wasn't learning it very fast, and it was difficult to manage the changing perspective. I later would abandon Onshape for the time, but it introduced me to the makerspace at STEAM. And I started going by during lunches and looking around. My English teacher was quick to notice this and encouraged me to start getting interested in engineering and design. And that's when I became set on becoming an engineer. I would later return to Onshape, and it's become a valuable tool to me. And these are all skills that are not shown in any state data or any data that you'd see. These are opportunities that were provided to me by the school district that are outside of our classroom and are outside of traditional learning methods. And that's why, and every student has something like that. Every kid in robotics or HOSA or DECA or football or anything like that has a why. They have a passion they pursue outside the classroom, and it's great that everything that you guys do is there to meet them wherever they might be. The athletic field works are important, and they help students that maybe are not focused on just one set of school. The half field going into our STEM facility is amazing. It's going to help future engineers on the hackbots for years to come. These are all things that I love that you do, and they're outside the classroom, but they directly help the education of our students. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Bill Lovaway, followed by Adelaide Hawkins, and Adelaide Hawkins is the last comment card that I have, so if anyone else wants to do public comment, please fill out a card. Mr. Lovaway.
Good afternoon. I'd like to speak first about the budget. I see where we got a notice, or you posted a notice online, that the budget detail would be posted after May 28th. That's Thursday the 28th, before a Memorial Day weekend. Is that really going to be a budget? What kind of notice is that? You're going to review it on June 2nd, the day after Memorial Day weekend. It isn't going to be a 5-minute hearing like it was last year. I plan to put together my comments ahead of time before I even see the budget, and I expect to see some answers. One of my big areas, and Gene's area of concern, and Sean Black's area of concern, is the quality of our education. What's our literacy score? How good is our literacy? What are we doing to improve it? We know it's not good. We are an F in terms of literacy. Now, what's the problem? We're coming up to budget. Your budget didn't have, and it won't have this year, anything that describes what you're doing to improve literacy. It's a lousy checkbook is what it is. Here's your receipts, here's your expenditures, but there's no quality. Huge talked about it. I'm going to be talking about it, and we're going to see quality. I think also, since the 1.5 mills are on the ballot, August 4th, we ought to have a budget to how you're going to spend that $7 million. That's such a railroad job, it's bound to pass, and I can't believe that you'd have $7 million of tethered money to spend without telling us what it's about, and whether it's going to improve our education. Or you're going to put buses in there or something. You have a bond issue coming up. When is that information going to be available? You're going to be looking at it next meeting? When do we get the data on it? That's a lot unfair to come to your public with major expenditures and not tell anybody what it is about. You don't listen to us, you don't plan to listen to us, and your timetable just demonstrates that. And while I have a few seconds, Kelly, I went to a meeting the other night, and they had a nice schedule that showed all of the details on the 1.5 mills, how much you paid, how much we got back. It was every school district. I'd like to see a copy of that. You must have gotten a copy of that with a notice from Oakland schools.
Thank you for that. The next person is Adelaide Hawkins. And while you're coming up, I just wanted to make one correction. I'm not going to respond to everything, but the Memorial Weekend is not after the 28th. Memorial Weekend is this weekend. The 28th is next week after Memorial Day, just so that you're aware. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, my name is Adelaide Hawkins. I'm a junior at North, and I'm the president of my school's art club. I started it in February, and I was invited by Ms. Blau to share some information about it. So I started this club because I wanted to help make learning about art and also the experience of making it more accessible to students, whether they haven't had that many opportunities or they have and they want more. Also, a lot of students at North, including me and my classmates, we might not have time with other classes and stuff to take art classes, especially when there's other interests in life, maybe for college, but you still have a passion for art. Moreover, the extension of the art room space allows kids to create personal works which can be used to help build scholastic art experience or opportunities. And it's great if you want to make a portfolio or apply for scholarships with your art. And we also have Mr. Goodrum, he's our teacher that helps run the club with us, and he's also a really great advisor for stuff like opportunities that are out there, as well as individual art advice. But overall, it's a great outlet for students to use according to their needs and goals, and it's a really nice community to count with after school. In our meetings, me and my vice presidents, which are kind of like our club's board, we plan out an arts and crafts project, and we gather supplies, and we make social media posts and slideshows for these meetings. So far, we've done paper mache, painting, and origami, and a few other things. But today, we collaborated with our school's photography club, and we created multimedia pieces of some of the photos that they took for the month of May, as well as a few other subjects were created. And I believe Ms. Blau showed some of you guys some of the paintings that I brought. And that was today. Then going forward, we're trying to develop a community service program, or a project, in order to help make art materials more accessible where they may not be as readily available. We're still working on that, but that was about all I had to share, in case there's any questions.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Is there any further public comment? Any further public comment? Seeing none, we're going to close public comment. I'd like to make a couple comments. First of all, thank you to the students who come and speak to us. We really appreciate hearing from young people firsthand about what interests you, what's going well, and what's not going well. So thank you very much for that. Second, I wanted to make sure, should I give these back to you?
Did everyone get a chance?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
They're excellent.
I want to make sure that our public understands what is being asked or what is potentially going on a ballot with respect to either or both a millage or a bond. All of that information is on our website. We've also had a number of meetings. I think we held 3 different meetings on 3 different dates at various times, and we had one virtual to make sure that it was accessible to as many people as possible. I'm sure that that level of communication is not going to change. We'll continue to do that. As we hear from our community questions, really good questions, we'll address those and answer those as often as we can. So thank you for your feedback. I also wanted to make a special announcement about Trustee Walker's birthday. Jazz hands. He's another May baby that I missed. May's the best, by the way. I'm sorry. So I have the microphone, you do not. May is the best. With that, maybe we'll get back to professionalism here and get to, we'll move on to the legislative update.
Mama Secretary.
Yeah, we'll go back to that. She's in the audience.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a few quick things from the Capitol. On the budget, they have completed the consensus review estimating conference, which is sort of fiscal folks from all the different departments and the Treasury get together and they kind of start proposing a budget. That week they can work off of to finalize a budget. There are some numbers that are floating around, but the main emphasis is that it does get a little bit closer to hopefully finalizing budget as is required by law. And so that is one thing. The House committee did approve an extra day of forgiveness for folks that were impacted by emergencies, whether it be floods up north, and also the water main break in some of our surrounding school districts. So they have some forgiveness there. And then tomorrow morning through the afternoon is the behind the scenes at the state capitol, which I will be attending, and I will thankfully be able to bring back to the board some from news from there. Will be the agenda is filled with meetings with legislators, learning about more about the process, legislative process, but also the budget process, as well as meeting with folks from MASB. So I'll be there. I think Dr. Coffin will be there too. So, and I'll bring back a full report at the next board meeting.
Very good. Thank you. Yes.
Question or a comment to ask. When you attend, I know that between the Senate and Governor Whitmer, there's been some specific call-outs as it relates to STEM budgeting, but the House has just dropped this one large lump sum and expecting districts to have local control, but I'm still not hearing what that definition is.
Okay.
If you can maybe ask
Sure.
about that, or see if they can start to get some language about what do they mean by that, or do they ever, is there the possibility that they might have some more specificity around how they want that to be spent?
Definitely.
I have a question. Do you have any more information on the federal budget as far as title funding and?
No, there is a meeting tomorrow regarding federal budget, so I'll be able to get an update on that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. We're going to go back to the Secretary's report.
The board received the following communications: the Farmington High School IB Castle newsletter, the May edition, the Power to Make Change Student Showcase invitation, the feedback from the May 5th, 2026 Board of Education meeting, a response email to feedback from the May 5th, 2026 Board of Education meeting, a USPS letter regarding candidates for school board, and a response to the Mississippi Marathon report of April 2026 by Rachel Cantor. The board acknowledges all communications and responds as appropriate. A list of correspondence is included in the board packet, which is available on the Farmington Public Schools website.
Thank you. Let's move on to district updates.
All right, thank you, President Weems. Well, it certainly has been a few action-packed weeks here since we last met, and you heard a little bit of that in President Weems' update. And I have some additional exciting news to share from around the district. Before I dive into those, though, I do want to, again, also take a moment to recognize our incredible retirees who we celebrated just prior to this meeting. What an amazing group of educators. They have truly been part of the fabric of this district, and I personally will be forever grateful for their incredible service to our students and families. We wish them, of course, all the best on their next chapters. Maybe a little bit jealous of some of them. We had a wonderful turnout for our second annual community showcase. It was so inspiring to see our schools and our communities come together and highlight the incredible learning that's happening in our classrooms. It also was a great opportunity to connect with our local business partners who continue to be a tremendous support to our district. Speaking of community engagement, President Weems mentioned as well that we had our final Parent Ambassador Network meeting for this school year. This was to continue gathering feedback for our future programming needs, again, which is a critical piece of our ongoing 10-year capital planning work. I'm so appreciative of the parents who come after working hours, stay late with us, and lend their voices and be part of this long-term vision. We also had some incredible opportunities to showcase our district's innovative work at the state level. Farmington High School Principal Chris Musner and I recently traveled to Lansing, where we presented at the Future of Learning Council and Michigan Virtual Summit. Chris did an amazing job sharing the information on our freshman cohort initiative at FHS, highlighting how our high school planning continues to focus heavily on ensuring access and opportunity for all of our learners. Additionally, we were able to host a group of educators from across the state who came here specifically to visit classrooms to see our team-based staffing models in action. This work is supported by the Michigan Educator Workforce Initiative, which is part of a larger statewide effort to build on the powerful educator talent network happening right here in Michigan. The data supporting this team-based approach is incredibly compelling. Research looking at over 40 schools representing around 27,000 students shows that teachers who work in teams are significantly more likely to stay in their districts compared to their non-teamed colleagues. Even more impressive, early career teacher turnover rates are 13 percentage points lower than for those who are for part of a team than those who are not. Beyond supporting our staff, this directly impacts our kids. Students learning in these team-based models make 1.4 more months of reading growth than students educated in traditional classrooms. It is exciting to see that FPS is leading the way here in Michigan in strategies that not only support student success, but also our teacher retention. Looking ahead to this week, as Trustee Racinto mentioned, looking forward to going to the Capitol as part of the advocacy work with MASB. Then later in the afternoon, we will be hosting our Authentic Learning Showcase. This is an event that celebrates our educators and the hard work they put in the school year to expand the learning experience for all of our students. Moving beyond basic information and acquisition to true meaning-making and the ability to transfer knowledge to a new context. This is a free event. Everyone is welcome to attend. This takes place, as I mentioned, on Wednesday at 4 p.m. at the J. Detroit Community Center. Everyone's welcome to come and learn about the incredible work. I know in the past I've truly appreciated our city council members coming, just really supporting our educators and seeing the great work that's happening, and we hope to see everyone there. Next, as part of the district update, I would like to share an update on our school safety and security. The district, as part of our ongoing work in this area, will be bringing the Raptor Safety Suite to our school buildings beginning in the 26-27 school year. As the board remembers, there was a decision to accept the II.A funds from the state, and that's what makes this security initiative possible for our district. During our recent internal safety reviews, we identified a few areas that still needed some attention, specifically that our emergency communication system is still very dependent on traditional phone calls, which can cause delays. We also realized that we needed a more robust way to screen our visitors who are coming into our school and the ability for staff to be able to notify others in the building and trigger a building-wide lockdown from anywhere if needed in the case of an emergency. So to fix this, our district safety team, led by Ms. Allison Robinson, including representatives from our staff associations, VI.A, FASA, ESP, our IT staff, local law enforcement as well, met to vet different options. After comparing presentations from Raptor and another company, Centegix, the committee chose Raptor as the best multi-layered solution for our district's needs. The implementation centers around 3 main tools that will really change how we handle our safety in the district. First, we're introducing the Raptor Badge Alert. So every single staff member, including our edu staff substitutes, will receive a wearable badge with a built-in panic button. If a teacher needs quick help with a localized issue, they can discreetly press the button and it calls the building's internal response team. In a worst-case scenario, the button can be pressed several times in order to initiate a lockdown within that building, which automatically will call the police and triggers a digital screen takeover of the building. Next, we're going to be deploying the Raptor Visitor Safe. As I mentioned, we currently don't have a visitor management system that monitors guests coming into our school. The system will scan the visitor ID against the National Sex Offender Registry and our own local list in the event of a custody restriction or no trespassing orders. If there's an issue, it quietly alerts the secretary so the admin can step in. And if it's clear for visitors, if for cleared visitors, it can also print a photo badge before they come into the building. Finally, we have Raptor Student Safe. And this gives us a secure, centralized digital space that we can track student behavior patterns and store sensitive threat and suicide assessment information. This tool is truly about early intervention and helping our team spot warning signs and support our students who are at risk prior to a crisis happening. We are moving fast to get this done, but we're very deliberate so that we're ready for the upcoming school year. This spring, we've already had our kickoff meetings and we've actually been engaging with stakeholders. Later in the spring and into the summer, we'll finalize our internal protocols and we'll share that information with our families, our staff, and prep our training materials. When staff are back with us in August, they will get their badges and we will conduct a comprehensive training so everyone feels confident when using the system. Full implementation will roll out this fall and then we'll continually gather feedback and provide training to our teams as needed. Ultimately, we expect this to cut down on response times, give our staff a peace of mind, and to secure our perimeters. Just as importantly, it'll allow us to respond to student mental health and behavior needs much faster than we currently can. I know the board in your packet received additional information, and as always, we're here to answer any questions you may have, but just wanted to give a brief update for you on that. Next we'll move on. Any questions from the board? No. Next, I'd like to invite up Mr. Tim Russell, our IB coordinator, and his guest to the podium to share an update on the IB program.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having us. I see we have the slideshow up. This is excellent. Just wanted to let you know we appreciate you giving us this opportunity to speak. We started in 2013. Our first graduating class was in 2015, where this is our 12th graduating class. And they've done a terrific job this year. The numbers are looking better each year for the next couple of years. We're looking into maybe IB music because a lot of the students really want to do IB music as part of the program. So that's one of the things we're hoping to build in. I try to keep you up to date with our newsletters. Hopefully those are interesting. So one of the great things that we've been able to do the last couple of years is what we call the IB Support Network, which includes the IB Student Leadership. This is the IB Executive Board for the Student Leadership Group. And then the IB Parent Leadership Group, which is I've been a soccer coach for 30 years, so it's basically a booster club for academics. And so we've been trying to build that up. because when they choose to do a difficult program like this, it is challenging. They need extra support because sometimes they feel like they're buried in the books, and we need to get their heads out of the books a little bit so they can be kids. So one of the things these guys have been leaders for is exactly that. A lot of the social programs that we do, a lot of the fundraising that we do, we were able to give a couple of $500 scholarships to a couple of our graduates. They don't know about it yet, but they will. And we're actually giving those in honor. We're calling it the Bashrouge Palmer Award in honor of our former leaders, Polly Bashrouge and Vicki Palmer, because they're the ones that got the IB program going. And so we're planning on increasing the number of scholarships in the future. At the very least, it'll help to pay for the cost of the IB exams, which is, sometimes limiting for families. So these are a number of the changes that we've been making, and these guys have been a big part of it. So start off with Adrian. Adrian Ponal is going to have a few words.
Hi, my name is Adrian Ponal. I would just like to state that how I view IB is how it just incorporates us into a community, into a you would think as the school, it's a very small community, but in the big one, it's a very big community, especially with all the grades that we have tried to reach out to, especially even in freshman and sophomore. You're not in the program yet, but you're still in that IB community, and in this community, I feel like we really provide a support system with each other, and in our classes, we are able to allow ourselves to learn, but also have fun. Like, especially since IB is you have smaller classes, you have smaller, people in your classes, you want to learn with the people that you are intellectually, capable with, and able to, communicate with each other. And especially even with the teachers, we have almost inside jokes with every single teacher we have. And it's very fun, and we just each and every class we have a community with, and we're able to just learn and explore more. One of the things that I love to do is just to educate myself, understand what the real world is going to be about, what can happen in the real world. And I feel like IB really prepares me for what is going to be in the future. My older sister, she's in college. She goes to LTU. But she will talk to me about her college experience, and I'll be like, I've already learned that. That's crazy. I've seen this, every single thing that she's shown me, or almost every single thing. I won't say that because she's architecture. I can't do that. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of creativity. But a lot of the things that she's shown me is just stuff that I've seen in math and history and bio. It's a crazy experience, and I feel like outside of IB, I wasn't able to explore as much as I was possible. Compared to AP, I took this is one of the comparisons I say a lot. Compared to AP World History and IB World History, I feel like I've learned so much more in IB World History than I did in AP, especially since it's a 2-year program and you're able to explore deeper into what you're actually trying to learn. And then also with just the teachers and communicating, it's easier to have these connections and be able to explore more. And with the IB student leadership, we like to plan parties, plan separate things. It's oh, you guys are nerds, what are you doing, But really, it's more just to make our community better and allow ourselves to grow as people and grow into our futures. And it allows us to really just connect, especially when you're looking at the IB test. Oh, when I tell you, I was writing more than Alexander Hamilton himself. That was so much work. It was so much work. But it was even after the experience, after testing, we talked to each other about the test, and we're oh my gosh, I knew that. With Spanish, that was crazy. I was she's given us harder tests before. And honestly, the DR, that just showed up. The DR, when we went to the Dominican Republic, the little kids would talk to us in Spanish. I'm whoa, give me a second there. Let me compute, and then I'll process. But then you're on the test, and you're I know what they were saying. You know what they're saying. You know what they're thinking. And it's really you're allowed, you can reach out more to other people. You're you can talk to other people. And IB art, it's so beautiful. All the stuff is so beautiful, and everything that we produce in our schools, everything that we are able to do in this program allows us to reach further into the things, have fun, and dig deeper into what we want to be and what we want to do in our futures. For me, it's business management and business administration. And really with that, we have an EE. It's just called extended essay, and you pick any subject you want, anything you want, out of all your subjects. And some people even chose to do something they're not even in a class of. And for business, it was just it was so fun. I liked exploring more into different things. It was really allowed me to discover who I am as a person and as a community what we want to achieve. But yeah. Y'all want to go? Okay.
You basically explained everything. Right. I love how when I come up here, my slideshow just magically pops up. Can't top Adrian's, why is there two? Can't top Adrian's, speech, we love that, but I will say that I am one of 3 siblings who've all done the IB program, and I've seen firsthand just the benefits of it. I mean, me and all my siblings, we are all attending MSU, and we all are aiming for business degrees, but I will say, I think experience-wise, I've learned so much. I've learned so many skills. But by just being a part of the IB program, because I currently don't take all, I'm not a full diploma student anymore, but I will say that in the last 2 years, I've gained friendships. I've gained so many different experiences and also life skills that I think will prepare me better for college as opposed to AP, and I feel I just wish that so many more students were educated about what the IB program is, because I do know that my sister was, one of my older sisters was in the IB program before COVID, and then me and my second older sister were post-COVID, and you could definitely see like Mr. Russell was talking about, the decrease in numbers of students, but also like the lack of awareness that these students have in the school, because I mean, there's so many people who are like, oh, you're in the IB program, don't you just hate your life? And it's no, I love all the experiences, I love all the friendships. I mean, it's 2 years with the same people. You grow bonds, and you learn, I don't know what it's called, but it's you gain a deeper connection than you would with just any other students in a 1 semester course. But like I was saying, yeah, I think it's definitely important to educate our students and our lower classmen of what the IB program really is, and not the false perceptions of people thinking that it's this terrible course where it's so hard to be successful and you have to be born a genius, because it's they allow you to grow academically and also socially. So I personally love the program. I also think it has to do with mindset too. I try to look at things in a positive light. So I feel that's probably why I look at IB in such I hold it to a high standard, but that's really all I have to say about it. That's how it's affected me, my life, and obviously it's given me the podium to be successful in my career, because I'm going to MSU, yay! All right, hi, my name is Sonali Shah. I can't really top what they have said, because I feel they've covered literally everything that the IB program is about. And I'm just gonna add a little bit extra. I feel like I have made the most friendships that I have ever made in this entire program. Adrian, I met in 4th grade, but her and I, these last 2 years, have gotten so much closer than we have in the last, 8 years, I think that was. And it's just amazing how many great friends I have made, and the connections that I will still have with these people, because they say you have every single class with these people. You might get tired of them, but you keep making those connections, you keep having fun with them, you just want to spend all the time that you can with them before we have to leave. Our last day is this week, Thursday, and I know I'm going to miss all of these people so much because of all.
because of all the connections we have made and all the memories we have made, which is just what the IB program can offer to everything. So, yeah.
Any questions, comments, concerns?
I got a few. So Adrian and Jamie, you're going to MSU.
I'm going to Clark.
You're going to Clark. Okay,
I'm
so
going to
Nolly.
MSU.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to MSU.
And you're going to Clark. Okay, so I wanted to get that clear, like where you guys are going. So all seniors.
Correct.
Jamie, you mentioned you wanted to see more young people go through the IB program. We couldn't agree with you more. And I hope to see you, at graduation. And for those of you who come back in December, if you're coming back for the December graduation too, for those of you who are going to continue on with the IB. My point is, I've never met anybody who went through the IB program who said they didn't have academic rigor, that's everyone who comes out of the program says they have the academic rigor. They are breezing through college. They've seen, folks who are in college who are struggling. That's not their story, that it absolutely prepared them. We have the curriculum. We have the pathway to, productive outcomes in you, girl power around the world. I love it. Thank you for bringing out these three lovely girls today. He knew what he was doing.
I think the next leaders are going to be girls too.
Yes, yes. I couldn't agree more.
Hey, we started it.
I appreciate you coming. I appreciate you telling us your story. I also want you to tell us where we have some opportunities to improve. I would love to hear from you how we can grow this program and make it more accessible to more people so that more of our young people are confident, are articulate, are college ready, and all of those things. Thank you again for coming to share your story. Mr. Hall?
Every time I see you girls, I'm just smiling from ear to ear because it's just refreshing to see young girls that's have that thrive for learning, and that you may not know it, but you're setting a expectation now in which that this is normal, okay, instead of being the exceptional. And we want to always know that anybody can do the things that you are doing, because you don't have to be a certain demographic or a certain race or a certain ethnicity or a certain gender in order to accomplish what you're doing. And that what people have to learn, that this is very obtainable. I mean, you basically said that you're allowing to grow and have fun, and that's what I like. You girls seem like you're very close. You want to just the bond that you guys are having, because you guys are part of the same fabric, come from the same cloth. And we're going to make that cloth a lot bigger, that includes more people that's in it. And I'm really excited to what you guys do next.
Thank you so much.
Mrs. Smith?
Mr. Walker had his hand up first.
You sure? Oh, I just wanted to comment on from last year to this year. Last year when there was the guys.
I should have took my time back, President
Okay, I
Wade.
just want to put that out there. Certainly not to diminish the ladies by any stretch of the imagination, but just to compare the level of joy from one year to the next, it's so fantastic to see. And that seems to be something woven into the fabric of this program with the teachers, the staff, and certainly with the students. And I think if there is some way, to President Williams' point, if there's some way to really bottle that and market that and really demonstrate how you guys show intelligence is cool. You don't lose your swag. There's so many benefits that come along with it. That hard play can still be fun and beneficial. And for those of you who are second and third generation IB students, talk about the progressions, talk about the positive benefits that you've seen in your own families. I think if we can build something around that, you can do a really great job of expanding all of this across the board. It is just so wonderful to see students expressing joy in learning, and that school is someplace that you enjoy coming to rather than staying away from. So I just wanted to congratulate staff, students across the board.
Thank you. Mrs. Smith?
I should have went first since he wanted to talk about the young men.
Just getting some acknowledgement in, that's all.
First and foremost, congratulations
Thank you.
on a wonderful job at your accomplishments and your achievements. What you don't know now is once you hit those college doors, my daughter did not do IB because the program was just kind of starting. But she walked into her college as a first-year senior, and she didn't have to take a freshman year. She was teaching students higher than her, and now she's almost a physician's assistant. She's almost done. So I want to say first, congratulations to Girl Power, as Ms. Weems said. With the climate of this community and country, the three of you are amazing. And I want you to know that and hear that from this board. As we know, this country is dealing with women being targeted. And what you all are showing is that you can go above and beyond. The teachers that you have in this program have worked hard to keep this program alive and well and going. Now, most people would look and be like, oh, them IB people, they nerds, you know, they the Steve Urkels or whatever. You girls, y'all fire, y'all got it going on. So at the end of the day, I am proud to see that you all have not segregated yourselves from the general population. You are still working as a team with the school. And I also want to say this. We do have people that come to the board that acknowledge that we, the people of color, don't have books in our homes. And you are showing that we have books. We have brains. We have talent. We are exceptionally brilliant. So I want to thank you for the work that you have done. I want to thank you for bringing these young women, our future, here. And we want to see more from all of you. Now, I won't be on the board when y'all come back with your speeches, with your doctorals and all that other stuff. But I will still be listening, paying attention. And I wish you all three success. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Trustee Blau?
I would like to comment in particular on your passion for learning, the way that you celebrate the relationships that you share and how important those relationships have been in your learning experience. And now that you have this appreciation for these friendships, the importance of relationship, and how exciting and interesting and interdisciplinary learning can be, no one will ever be able to take that away from you. So you just shine on. Shine on. Bravo.
So, ladies, your presentation 8, you did a great job.
Appreciate it.
And I want to offer to you business folks, you can come read my thesis on accounting theory anytime. It's a great read. Why are you laughing? Have a good one. Thank you for
One thing I wanted to add,
Yes.
we've now had a 12-year trial run that shows that cohort learning works.
Very good.
Because this is our 12th cohort.
That's great. Awesome. That's great. Thank you.
All right, that's all I have this evening.
Thank you. We will now move on to reports from board committees, and I am going to report on the Blueprint Committee. The School Blueprint Committee met last week, I think it was. I am a member, as is Trustee Hull and Trustee Smith. The Blueprint Committee, as a reminder, was established because we wanted to focus on learning and really transforming student experiences. The district's work with respect to our school blueprint is intentionally focused on 4 pillars: high expectations for all, equitable instruction, alignment of resources, and professional learning and collaboration. During the meeting, we talked about all of our aspirations for the district. We want all of our young people to truly mean every student. I recall us also talking about discipline coming out of that conversation. Really, really good discussion. Anything either of my trustees would add? All right. Well, that's a summary of that committee meeting.
I just want to say you did a phenomenal job on running that committee. And we did have some great, great conversations. And so I appreciate you forming this and hearing the conversation and the feedback from Trustee Hall and yourself. I really was impressed. And I don't impress easy. So thank you.
No, you don't, Mrs. Smith. All right, thank you. Now we'll move on to discussion items. I really appreciate you guys. I'm just going to pause for a minute and take some privilege. I enjoy serving on this board, and I have not always enjoyed serving on this board. It is really nice to celebrate each of our uniqueness and our different personalities, and when we all individually contribute towards something much, much bigger because of all of these differences. I think we are a great example of Farmington and Farmington Hills in terms of diversity and in terms of how we leverage that diversity, for purposes of collaborating and moving us forward. So all jokes aside, I'm serious on that point. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to discussion items. Dr. Coffin?
Yes, I would now like to welcome Ms. Gail Aliviato, President and Chief Marketing Officer with TMP Architecture, along with Ms. Carrie Sini, Vice President of Interiors with TMP Architecture, to provide an update on our capital improvement planning progress and prioritization efforts.
Great, thank you very much, Dr. Coffin, and thank you, Board, for inviting us tonight. We're busy at work with so many great things to share tonight, and still a lot that we're still gathering because hot off the press, the EPIC MRA survey to look out at the broader community's feedback to some of the ideas went live yesterday. So I'm sure some community members are getting calls, and it's not bad to make sure everybody knows that so that you don't just like, oh, I'm not taking that call. I don't know that number. We want people in the community to take those calls and provide that feedback. But today's presentation is going to be focused on some updates. There we go. We're going to just kind of look at that summarization of the process again. We're going to look at the feedback that we received from the ambassadors on the secondary buildings. The last time we were here a couple weeks ago, we talked about feedback on the primary buildings, so this time focused on secondary buildings. We're actually going to give you a sneak peek at some of the potential items that are starting to rise to the top in terms of prioritization, and those became very instrumental in creating the survey so that we could get the feedback directly on those prioritization potential projects. Talk a little bit about survey methodology and then the next steps. So I'm going to ask Carrie to take you through process.
Check me closer to the mic. Okay, for our process, the board has seen this graphic before. This is our program development process, and it's been updated to better reflect some of the stakeholders that we have been interacting with through the process. So before we really interacted with a lot of the people in the district, we received feedback from the Cobalt Community Survey, PTA notes, so parent perspectives, and Lunch and Learn notes, student perspectives. Our team read through all of those notes. Honestly, the student notes were so impactful. And then when we really engaged with the district, we were able to meet with building leaders, athletic leaders, and teachers when we were in the field. And then some people are more oriented with numbers. So this is the process that you just graphically saw, more by the numbers if you want to quantify it. We had 5 visioning meetings with district administrators and building leaders, really understanding the district vision for the strategic plan and also the curricular vision. 32 PTA meeting notes, lunch and learn meeting notes, 17 principal and building leader meetings, 22 building walkthroughs. And so some of the buildings we walked twice. Some buildings we walked when the students were not in session because there were some things we had to look at deeper. But we did walk all of the buildings when school was in session so we could see learning in action. 5 engagement sessions with district leadership on findings and master planning. 20+ master plan concepts, and we look at that long-term vision for the district as far as facilities, a lot of concepts and iterations and reiterations. More than 20 and counting, still working on the prioritization concepts. So as Gail mentioned, we had the master plan concepts, then we started looking at the themes that kept bubbling up to the top and representing those in graphic concepts. 3+ Board of Education updates and 3 parent ambassador network meetings focused on that master plan. Okay. So this might be a little bit of a review, so I'll go a little bit faster, and if you have questions, please stop me. But what really drove our assessment of your buildings is around these 4 drivers of alignment. So again, we dove into the vision with the strategic plan. We dove into the skills that Farmington Public Schools students should develop and that profile of a lifelong learner. We looked at competency-based education, that overarching visions in what learning should look like at Farmington, and that is what we were able to see in the buildings, watching learning in action. We saw that team-based model happening as well. And we observed the space and how the space is supporting those other 3 drivers. And just a synthesis of all of the notes that I mentioned that we read through. So the lunch and learn notes, elementary, middle school, high school, and then a full synthesis. I believe I presented this at the March 7th board retreat, so this is just a review. And a visioning exercise with district leadership, and we asked them to design their ideal school and on a really high level. So not just the building, because that's our role, but really around the schedule of the day and the learning experiences that we want students to develop. Because as I like to say, it is not just about the building, it's about a much bigger picture. And our assessment methods that we use throughout the buildings and the stakeholders that we engaged with. So with programmatic alignment, understanding how the spaces within the building are supporting curricular initiatives, we engage with building leaders. So that's the principals and anybody else that they wanted to bring to the table, so any key staff members as well. And then when we were in the building, we were able to see learning in action and talk to teachers in real time, and they were so excited to show us what they were learning. My favorite is we were at one of the elementary schools, I think it was Lanigan, and a teacher pulled us in, and she's like, I'm doing science in my classroom. And I looked, and all around the room is a bunch of physics slides set up, and they were running out of space there, but it was really a good case study to say that the space needed to support more than direct instruction, and that you are doing amazing things in your district. As Dr. Coffin mentioned, that you have other districts coming to observe your programs, so that's amazing that you're running towards that change. And our architectural staff looked at each building for the adaptability. So when we're talking about a master plan, these are items that we need to look at how adaptable the building is to potential changes in the future. And all of this was boiled down into assessment data. So we had a lot of qualitative data, but we also needed some quantitative data as well. So each building got a rating score for both adaptability and programmatic alignment. So this is an example of the findings, and then we were able to digest those into common needs and desires. So a lot of information there. This was presented to the Parent Ambassador Network as well. And all of that data came into these 12 guiding principles that, again, these are themes that started to boil to the top of this data, and the Parent Ambassador Network prioritized these, so that gave us some really great insight. And again, number 12 doesn't mean that it's not important. We know all of it is important, but it was really helpful for us to get into the heads of the community members in that ambassador network on what they feel is important, because we had great representation of early childhood, elementary, middle school, and high school. And at our last board update, we presented feedback from the elementary concepts that we showed the Parent Ambassador Network. So now I'm going to show you some feedback on the secondary concepts. So we presented the secondary concepts. We had some great conversation with the Parent Ambassador Networks. They engaged in small groups. And this is our quantitative feedback. So they ranked those guiding principles. So we asked them to every single concept we presented, we asked them to rank it against the guiding principle. Does it positively impact? Does it slightly impact? Or does it not impact at all? So that is our quantitative data scoring. And then qualitative, we asked them questions. Did we miss anything? Very important for us to know. How might these new learning environments enrich students' lives? And do these environments support future-ready skills? And shared themes that these environments foster community. I've heard that a lot from all of the speakers tonight about how important that community is. Mirror university and professional settings. So think about that as the secondary level. And that's something we're seeing all over, is that, especially at the secondary level, that it should mirror those professional settings when they get into the workplace. And empowering students with greater ownership over their education and learning experiences. And obviously that's already happening in Farmington Public Schools, but these master plan concepts can really support that. And do these environments support future-ready skills? There was a strong agreement that it supported, and with emphasis on real-world environments, collegiate environments, and modern and collaborative spaces. And they touched on expanded opportunities available with any athletics upgrades. And then more qualitative synthesis is across all tables and all concepts. The feedback was organized into 5 major themes: future-ready learning environments, safety, security, and student well-being. So that was a discussion point as well. Accessibility, wayfinding, and campus functionality, flexible academic spaces and long-term growth, and a balanced student experience. Okay.
So from all of that, the things that really rose to the top that are in the survey, and this is not totally inclusive, there's a lot of different facets to how they ask questions in this, but with regard to each of the building levels, first visions, it's really more about the critical site, infrastructure, technology needs. At the Early Childhood Center, same thing, the site, infrastructure, and technology needs. At the elementary schools, it's really about bringing, it's going to test this idea of furniture upgrades to provide flexibility in their classrooms, adaptability so that teachers can kind of change their classroom like that to support what they're trying to do. Optimizing those media centers to support STEAM. We saw, we're going to be testing that, and also the maker spaces, project-based programming, upgrading playgrounds at our elementaries, and again, testing the site infrastructure and technology upgrades at elementaries. At the middle schools, a focus on enhancing performing arts spaces. Those are programs that seem to, be bubbling up, and they need their space, very unique spaces, so we're testing the feedback and support on those. Again, furniture solutions to transform the classrooms into flexible and adaptable environments, and not just classrooms, but the multi-use spaces like cafeteria and media centers, trying to kind of get more use out of those the full day, the entire day. Again, optimizing those media centers to support STEAM and project-based programming and the critical site infrastructure and technology needs. And at our high schools, going to be testing out enhancement of indoor athletic facilities and furniture solutions to transform those classrooms into flexible, adaptable environments. We're going to test out the reimagining of cafeterias to support not just the dining function, but collaboration, instruction, and different activities that students and teachers and really community can use throughout the day. And again, testing the critical site infrastructure and technology needs. So the EPIC survey, which went live on Monday, it's focused on, obviously, on registered voters who reside in the boundaries of Farmington Public Schools and who are likely to vote in the November 2026 election. You might say, how do they know that? There's a lot of research they do on who has voted in past school elections, who has voted in past November elections. So they use algorithms to kind of figure that all out, and they are looking at a widespread kind of, it's a random sampling, but yet it is looking at demographics that are throughout Farmington Public Schools. So age, gender, education levels, all of that is factored in so that you don't get like one homogeneous group. It is, they look at that, and once they reach a certain quota on different things, if they, have too many females, they'll then focus on males. So they look to get a broad section of the community. These are trained live interviews, and it's calls. They don't just call landlines. That used to be the case, but landlines don't exist hardly. So they are calling both cell phones and landlines, and it will come from a Farmington phone number. So that's a real positive. They've already started. These calls will end late May. They look to complete 400 surveys in order to get that 95% confidence level, plus or minus 4.9 points. So I know that they're in the 200s right now, but sometimes they make 2,000 calls to get 400 survey responses. But it is happening right now. Has anybody gotten a call? Any family members? To know?
Probably.
Probably. So we're excited to get those results and to start factoring those into the kind of into the current step, which we are glued to Plant Moran Real Point right now because the program assessment was only one facet. The facilities assessment was the other. Those are being married together right now, looking at those priorities, looking at critical infrastructure needs, and then just factoring in everything we're learning from all the great feedback. The EPIC survey will be the last factoring in. We'll be working very closely with district leadership to bring it all together on June 2nd, meeting with you to talk about the specifics of the results and a proposed ballot language. And then the 16th is when the board would look to the recommendation resolution if that is the step that you take. But it's very exciting right now, fast and furious work, and if you have any questions or comments, or we'd like to converse.
I have a lot of questions.
I do too. Go ahead, Ms. Tyrick.
But yeah, I mean, some of my colleagues might have the same ones. I made a couple notes on a lot of the things you talked about, critical site infrastructure and technology needs. Can you just kind of elaborate a little bit? I know right now we've been constantly upgrading our technology as far as we just approved structured cabling and upgrading all that, and we replaced things, and so just a little bit of better explanation on what what that exactly means?
Okay. That part of it is the blending of the Plant Moran Real Point infrastructure report, the facilities condition report that they just performed, and there was a technology study that is bringing up the 10 years. Dr. Coffin probably has more detail on that than we do. We're merging all of those reports.
Yeah, so thank you. So this is looking at the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have been doing all of our technology upgrades from our last bond. So there is still 60 million plus need around continued technology upgrades over the next 10 years.
Okay.
So that's what they mean, that those the infrastructure needs are incorporated from what wasn't able to be done in the last bond series. So we didn't want to lose those, and those are part of that prioritization of where we have to. We still have some roofs that will need to be replaced because they were part of the very beginning of the first series, but not all the roofs. So those are the things they're talking about that will be incorporated into this, the 10-year plan.
Okay, that was helpful. Yeah, I'm just, all this is good, but I'm sitting here thinking, how are we going to pay for this? And that Dr. Coffin kind of gave us a little bit of an overview, or, talked about it at the board retreat. I mean, as far as the things that we're looking at, are we looking at things with some financial constraints in mind, not just a wish list and, these are all the things, but we kind of are so we kind of have financial constraints and just talk about, and the survey is this I think is tied to that $0 mill increase.
Yeah, so a couple of things there. So we have the opportunity, as we've talked about, to go back to our voters and request a $0 mill increase, which would generate over 4 series $171 million. So that's keeping the millage rate the same as it is right now at 3.2. When we started this, it was a little bit lower, but due to the property values, it generates a little bit more money for us, and in choosing the 4 series. So that's the number we're working within. When they're saying the prioritization, we have a lot more needs than that. However, we are using the feedback that we got from our community, from our teachers, from our leaders, from the district, to determine what are those priority areas. So they're getting the prioritization in this 10-year plan is going to start with those first initial priorities. So we recognize there's more needs than the $171 million, but we are prioritizing that based on what our community is saying. The EPIC MRA survey they're talking about is putting this out to our community, and they're saying, we could support this, we're not going to support this. That's data that we'll be able to have as our final prioritization, in part how we communicate, but also in part of knowing what our community is very interested in us continue to pursue.
So in terms of taxes and what our community is paying, this $0 mill increase is not a tax increase, and so our taxpayers will not be paying higher taxes.
No. They will continue to pay their 3.2 mills.
Okay, and so we would be able to have these improvements without raising taxes?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
The one thing I want to add to this, our initial effort was looking at a master plan that was going to be a roadmap for longer than just 10 years. Because you're doing phenomenal things here, and you never want to make changes and then 10 years from now go, oh, we have to undo that, So we've mapped out a master plan, and what we're doing now is what's like phase 1 of that? What's the first priority that can be built upon later? Now, you're looking far out, and it might change, but without that roadmap, you always want to put money in that is going to remain good and not be tearing out or doing something you just finished. So we're building upon it, but you have now a roadmap of how you can meet the wonderful programs and different initiatives that you're trying to reach long-term, and your zero increase opportunity right now will be spent in the best first step to that?
Trustee Blau and then Trustee Smith.
I just noticed a friend in the community did get called, and I have some feedback for you about it, but how do I get you that feedback?
About the call specifically?
Yeah, it was very confusing, and this is a very, very highly intelligent person.
Okay, that's, let's talk about it because Jacqueline should probably, hear about this so we can get feedback to Epic right away.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, that's good to know, and we can adjust that right now. It just started, so.
Yeah.
You never want it to be confusing.
Yeah, and this is a really very,
Yeah,
very.
it's a sharp person that should have, it should have been easy. Okay, and it could be the interviewer, it could be, the survey instrument might need to be tweaked, but we'll address it right away.
And I do know, I don't know when the call happened, but I do know they made some tweaks initially in their
good.
first calls, so it would
Okay.
This was, I think, like, just maybe today.
Oh, okay, because
Okay.
they just started yesterday, but I
Yeah.
knew,
Oh.
I got an email that they made some tweaks, but yes,
Okay,
let's talk
good.
about that.
Mrs. Smith?
I want to thank you for coming before us with this presentation. And I love the fact that we're trying to get this information out in the community. We've had some discord in the past with not having relationships with our city, both cities. And I'm loving the fact that we do and we have bridged that gap. And we have that transparency and that relationship now. And so if we can, because I've received information and phone calls from city officials from our city council, and this is also coming to them as well. So if there's any way that President Weems and Superintendent can have those conversations with the mayor and city council members. I received some feedback yesterday from one city council member and then a couple of days prior to others. And the concern in the community is the raising of the taxes.
Okay.
I, who owns a condo, don't want to be taxed out of my place. Because with me having 2 homeowners association fees and then maybe an increase, we want to be transparent with this community and let them know, because I'm a senior citizen, don't say nothing, Mr. Walker, but I am. I am a senior citizen. And I am hearing from the senior community that they are afraid. What do? Pick eating or paying taxes or put gas in their car. They want to do all of the above. So thank you.
And Trustee Smith, thank you for bringing that up. I actually did connect with the interim city manager at Farmington Hills, and I think they're the same question, so I was able to connect, but thank you for that reminder. We do need to get something out to
Yeah, we
our city
do need to
officials.
get them involved. Right now, we do have a phenomenal relationship with them.
Good.
We don't want to lose that trust again.
Right.
We want them to continue to work with this board and, not have no cataract or glaucoma blocking nothing that we do with them.
Yes.
Okay? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I had a few questions. The first is I was really interested in hearing about the student feedback. And so I didn't quite hear which of the feedback is coming directly from students versus others. So when I look at some of the feedback, I see words like inclusive playground. I'm sure a fifth grader didn't say that. Like how do we, I'm interested in seeing the direct feedback from students. How can we get that?
So the majority of the student feedback was through I believe they were the lunch and learn meetings the notes were given to us. We did organically have some conversations with students while we were in the field. We just don't capture that as official feedback, but when we walk into a classroom, there's usually students who run up to us and be like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And we just hear a little bit about what they're doing. We might ask them about how they feel about their classroom. Usually they end up talking about how much they love their teacher, honestly. But most of the student feedback came from those lunch and learn meeting notes.
Okay, next question. I see a lot of feedback around flexible space. And I know most of our, at least elementary schools, have LGI rooms. And in my experience, they've been historically underutilized. Has that changed? How are we leveraging that space? Why would we create more space to potentially not be used? Like, I'm just trying to think that through.
No, that's a great question, and that's something that we've heard a lot about is underutilized space, and that is actually one of the things that we are looking at in this upcoming work, is we're not proposing that you add a bunch of space. We're saying you have great real estate in your buildings that's underutilized. How do we reactivate it for a different purpose? And we've talked through those could be just solely operational or schedule changes, thinking about who owns that space. And it could be minor renovations or medium or major renovations. Again, that's going to come down to cost when we start prioritizing. And then a big component is going to be furniture. Furniture can change the way a space functions wholeheartedly. But keep in mind that these design, after hopefully the bond passes, there will be design conversations around all of this scope, and we really dive into how are you using the space, what are all of the activities that occur in the space, and again, that's going to tie back to some operational changes too about who owns that space.
In our last bond, I remember a lot of conversation around that bond, and the community's desire, quite rightly, frankly, to understand exactly what the proposal was by school, in specificity, and I'm guessing that that's the plan. I'd like to kind of understand, when do we think we'll get there? How will we, this is a question directed back to the district, and you don't have to answer it now, but I will want to understand what our process is for sharing that and our plan for regular reporting on the actions against that plan. I think our community deserves that, and will certainly be looking to us for it. My final question, or maybe penultimate, I got one more, is on, does this include ongoing maintenance? So our prior bond was not on anything sexy, for lack of a better word. It was like roofs and parking lots and stuff like that. But those things are going to need updating over our next 10-year period. So is that included in this as well? Okay, that's not a lot of money.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're not going to be doing much, guys. I'm just going to be honest with you.
So hence the furniture options. Like, what can we do to repurpose space with small renovations and furniture?
Efficiently and effectively, and that is one of the best. I do want to address, President Weems, your question or your timeline question. The minute this is decided upon in terms of the scope and the board has approved proceeding, we begin right away with writing what we call frequently asked questions. So it's kind of, I call it, you know, it's this living document that answers every question that someone in the community might ask. That is vetted by your attorney so that it's approved language that is anyone can use, educating and talking to the community members about. And from there, we're already diving into creating communication tools. So that's sort of summertime, because, you know, and it's not like you can't get information about, hey, something's going to be happening in November and that, but there are steps we need to take to make sure that everything is vetted correctly, messaged correctly, consistency. But then everything just starts rolling. You know, we'll create, you know, Canva templates for social media. I mean, and this is just a full comprehensive communication program is developed around the messaging. I like to see things really start to push out in August before you have people coming into the schools, like have things ready in your schools, have messaging out to respect your staff first. They should be the first to hear about this, understand they're like the ambassadors to the community about all the great things that'll happen. So we educate them, make them feel comfortable, they can talk about this, not advocate for it in the school community, but talk about it and with passion and features, that goes a long way. But it just starts rolling out, and really our work on supporting the district to create those educational communication tools happens the minute that you approve what you're going to move forward with.
Mrs. Heinrich?
Yeah, I just, our buildings are older buildings, but they have good bones, which is a really good thing. And so I'm really, one of the highlights, I really like the fact that you're looking at the cafeterias and the media centers and looking at the spaces that we have and how we can better utilize that. So this is a really good thing. I think you explained, I was trying to figure out what the goal of the survey is, but it's just to find out if the community is going to support this.
And to find out where their interests are hotter, like, are they more excited about, STEAM
STEM and STEAM,
yeah, STEAM education, or, so it's
indoor
testing
athletics.
out different program elements and, technology. And so it's really looking at what is the community interested in seeing addressed and upgraded.
Okay. Yeah, and I really think we have to be really intentional on our messaging on how we're going to pay for this without raising taxes. I mean, this is something that I'm really excited about because any improvement projects is expensive, and in today's financial climate, if we can do this and really improve our schools and make things better without raising taxes, we really need to continue to get that messaging out.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the stretching of the mind or the status quo of how we actually sit and learn, because as I'm sitting here and I'm thinking that I'm so thankful that we have chairs that go up and down. So imagine if you're doing this for 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours, and you're at a steel desk in a steel chair and you can't do anything. I wish right now, this is a suggestion, that maybe, I don't know, in the future or so, we can have desks that can go up and we can actually stand up. But I don't know how that would look for quorum-like things or whatever.
Up and down,
like that.
yeah.
But, I love the flexibility, the way to stretch the mind to say that we have evolved. This is not the same school that, probably Socrates or the great philosophers on stones talking, teaching on. And this is a little bit, that we actually, have evolved from that, in which we have flexible environments, and environments that furniture that can move to other spaces and to do certain things, and, just get the kids and students and even adults more engaged into that.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that out of the, norm thinking.
Absolutely. If I could just say to the board, I just so appreciate that 2 years ago, you said, we know that this bond is wrapping up. We want to know, what will we need for the next 10 years all in? And you were very, very clear on that. So we started with building utilization, and the district has done hard work to right-size our district, but we are right-sized. We looked at transportation efficiencies. We looked at our enrollment projections, working with Plant Moran, and then going into our buildings and looking at this and recognizing that we have this opportunity to go to our community, knowing that we've looked at all of the needs. While we won't be able to do that all, I liked how Gail said that it's kind of, we have the roadmap of what it is, and anything we would do would not need to be undone, down the road. So I just appreciate that. 2 years ago, that was the conversation of making sure you had all the information collected.
Mr. Racinto?
I was just going to say, again, might be beneficial, as you had mentioned, to make sure that our community knows the survey's out there, because half the time people think it'll be, spam or, I don't know if maybe Galapagos can help us with some outreach, principal newsletters, PTA, all those avenues, and we just tell our parents and our constituents that there's a survey out there regarding the future of our schools. Love you to take it.
Yes.
Good point.
Yes. I also want to applaud Dr. Coffin, you and your team for beginning to experiment with some of these things over these past few years. In several of our buildings, just this year, you put in some doors, just put in a door between two classrooms, and that was game-changing for teachers and students in terms of the quality of the student experience. And so the fact that we've already experimented and had successes with things like that, and with having a multiplicity of things to sit on, in different classrooms, the varied seating and those kinds of things, and the teachers at the middle schools having extra space to have as a hub for their interdisciplinary planning. And so we've already experimented with many of those things over the last few years and found some ways that we can invest in a small way, but with big gains in student learning and the teacher's positive experience too. So kudos to you.
Thank you for that, Dr. Blau. And Kira, I'm thinking about something you had said at one of our meetings that, you guys do this all over, walk around, and I'm gonna mess up everything you said, but you shared at one of the parent ambassador networks when one of the parents, who's a former student at North Farmington, and talked about in an earlier meeting, we're still having these conversations, like this is what school was like when I graduated X number of years ago. And he said, are our teachers ready for this? Remember that? And you said, you just shared that you walk through so many buildings where they're looking at making the change to the space before they've made the change in the instruction. So to Dr. Blau's point, you shared that our teachers are already doing this work and working around and against some of the infrastructure that we have, and are still doing it. And so I just remember you calling that out as something that was very, very unique in your work around this area.
Yeah, and I believe I told the board before, but I want to emphasize that we're creating a lot of new spaces for surrounding districts, but they are actively trying to lead the change in instruction, and their buildings are now going to be farther ahead than their instruction, and that's kind of an uncomfortable place to be. But it's the opposite. You've already been doing the amazing things, and I've said to this group that, a building in a certain organization that can support teacher collaboration and student collaboration and cohorts and teaming, other districts might be struggling to live into that. Farmington could move in tomorrow and know exactly what to do in those spaces and how it's going to support them. So applauding you all, for getting all of the facts and thinking about the 10-year plan and starting on that vision for instruction, putting it in gear, and then saying, okay, well, how can our spaces really support this?
And we've seen that as we've visited other places.
Yeah.
Right, Mrs. Heinrich?
Well, no, I just have to go back to money because, our buildings are older buildings, but they do have good bones.
Yes.
And so, we can be intentional on using our structure and using our money wisely without going to the community and ask them for a whole bunch of increased taxes to pay for new buildings, which we don't really need because we have taken care of the existing buildings that we have. And so, there is, new isn't necessarily better.
Right. Oh, right, yes.
I'm aged to perfection, and so buildings are aging with me.
Amazing.
Yes.
Yes, I will say, we're not exploring any new buildings. We are not, that's not in the conversation. That's not in the conversation at all.
Absolutely. So, again, we're doing these amazing things with the money that the community we're not asking for more money. We're just asking them to continue to support us as they have in the past. And, yeah,
We're demonstrating fiscal responsibility and careful
Right.
planning.
yeah.
I think this has been a really good discussion. I think we've left the district with the next steps and to-dos. Any further questions? All right, thank you very much for your presentation. All right, we can move to our next agenda item, which is our dashboard or the strategic plan update. Dr.
Yes,
Costa?
so I'd like to, thank you. I'd like to welcome Ms. Rhonda Henry, Assistant Superintendent of Innovation and Strategic Initiatives, to the podium to provide a strategic plan update. Rhonda.
All right. Good evening, President Weems, members of the board, and Dr. Coffin. We are in year 2 of our 5-year strategic plan, and I will be providing an update on enhancements and improvements that we are making in our strategic planning dashboard. The strategic plan touches every part of our organization as the goal areas were developed by the input of all of our stakeholders, our administration, our community, our staff, led by teachers. As we work to redesign the student experience, the strategic plan connects to every one of the system elements, and the work is spread across the entire district, centered around continuous learning and improvement. And here's a review of the 4 different goal areas, again, based on the collaborative strategic planning work that happened over the course of several years, led by our teachers. Each of the goal areas includes key indicators that we monitor throughout the school year. We utilize a specific process beginning this year at the cabinet level to achieve our strategic goals. And this is a framework. So 4 disciplines of execution. First of all, focusing on those wildly important goals, the 4 areas that have been decided on, and acting on our lead measures. So these are the key indicators under each of the goals. And the key indicators are the predictors of success. So these are areas that we focus on in order to influence the success of the goal. And as we discussed, we had a really good conversation at the Board of Ed retreat last week. We discussed that we set meaningful, rigorous goals at the district level, and that's included on our strategic dashboard. And so those goals are developed intentionally to be rigorous, measurable, future-focused, and helping to guide our work while providing the community with a transparent view of our progress and areas where we need to continue to grow. Creating a compelling scoreboard is an important part of the process as well. We do have a strategic dashboard that is on our website. We are enhancing it so that it's more compelling. So you can see how we're progressing in areas that we need to improve on in real time. And then the last discipline is creating a cadence of accountability. We do this each week in our cabinet meetings where we move from goals to action and take collective responsibility on the strategic goal areas. And we pick one, so this was from last week, where it was goal number 4, collaborative professional learning that supports equity and innovation. And here's just a couple of examples from our cabinet team where we talked about those key indicators that we are currently working on to influence the goals. So I'm excited to provide a quick update from the last board retreat on improvements that we're making with the strategic plan. So you can see on the left of the screen, that is our current dashboard that we are monitoring our goals. And then to the right, in partnership with NI K-12, we are enhancing how we show the community the visibility of our goals and how we're progress monitoring our goals. So at this time, I just need the link. Yeah, so if I could have the link to the dashboard pulled up. There we go. Okay. So based on feedback from the Board of Ed retreat, I'm going to go to the home page here. Back to what I was saying about the key indicators and the intentional setting of meaningful goals and rigorous goals, we did add here on the home page how the goals were set. And each of the goal areas are underneath with the key indicators. On the first goal here, innovation for teaching and learning, we have updated it to have under each of the key indicators, we have our target. Again, we set the target as a district of where the baseline was 2 years ago in 2023-24, where the baseline was, and our goal in order to move the needle in the future. So part of the feedback was adding county data. So you'll see here that on this page where county data is available, we added it, and that's in our state assessments. So you can see here, right underneath. And then our, the key underneath has FPS and county. We also have the color coding system that will be included in the key. This is still being revised, but goal 1, all the data here is accurate in terms of the county and FPS. The color coding system is based on the targets that we set. So a green would be significant growth, yellow would be we are making progress or we are maintaining, and then red is we are not making progress yet, area that we continue to need to grow in.
That's all.
Thank you. So as of now, since our board retreat a week ago, the updates that we made based on your feedback is the landing page having that clear statement of how we are setting our goals and what the data means, and also then double checking the data. The previous year variance was an area that we talked about as well, so that's all been updated, and adding the county comparison. Okay. Our strategic plan dashboard will be updated again in June when we have our growth data for NWA, and we will keep you updated as we're making changes to the plan. Okay.
I'm just going to pause. We all had a lot of conversation, I think over an hour, hour and a half, around this dashboard. I want to thank everybody for contributing feedback, and I want to thank you for incorporating the feedback. I think it's really important to understand where we are relative to the county, in addition to seeing where we are compared to our goal, and also seeing where we are compared to last year, and this really shows it to us. So I like it. I like that it's all in one spot, and we don't have to dig through and look for data in a whole bunch of different places. I feel like this is a really good dashboard.
It's very visual, too,
It takes a minute to like, wait, what's this? And what's the green and the yellow and the, but I get it. And once you got it, it makes sense.
Thank you. We are adding, there will be a key that has the colors. It just couldn't happen by tonight.
Absolutely. Yep. Okay. Yes.
I agree. I love this. For those that don't know, with the up and down and here and there, you made it very friendly in layman terms. So it's just like if you have a My Chart at your doctor's office.
Yeah.
You have, instead of just having the doctor say, your A1 count is this, there's a chart to say, your sugars are high or this. This is perfect. It's spot on. You won't have these people that think they know the district and know what you're doing, coming back with their feedback and making it seem like they work for the district and saying they know, well, this was wrong and this is, you have it right here. I love how you've explained it. So there should be no feedback on, well, no, that's not how. Well, if you don't work with you and the team, you wouldn't know what you were doing. So I want to say thank you and I appreciate this. This is so much helpful and in layman terms. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Heinrich and then Mr. Rosento.
Just a quick question. I like the way you have the purple and the gray and, taking our feedback. It's nice. It's actually nice when you ask for feedback and then you actually, and it's, we feel we're listened to, so we appreciate that. Just help me understand a little bit in the arches, like 2 of the little arches have the red in them and the rest of them are yellow. And so what does that color signify between the red and yellow in those?
Yeah, so that's,
section?
yeah, that's a great question. It's a strategy tracker, so it helps us to know how we're doing on our progress. So the red is not making progress in that area. Yellow is making progress or maintaining, and then green is making significant progress. And I will be adding a key to each one of the goal areas so that so everyone understands that. And again, it's based on the targets that we set.
So I heard you say that, but I guess that would make sense for the top left corner. So target 72, we're at 45. The prior year variance is negative, and that's why that's red. But the one I'm pointing to here,
So our
so
target, go ahead.
no,
Sorry.
it's, those completing Zello, the target's 100%, we're at 58.
Right.
But the baseline was 49, so it's up from a couple of years ago, and it's up from the prior year. So I would expect that to be yellow rather than red.
Yeah, it's because of, so we set
But
the
if it's
target,
intended
we
to do
set
that,
the target.
we just like kind of, pulled this together since in the last couple of days. I just want to make sure,
No.
should that be
Yeah.
yellow instead of red?
Progress from.
Right.
Right,
one
from
year
the,
to the
from the,
other.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, and I can see that
We'll
one.
check on that one.
Yeah, so we set the target of 100, and because we're at 58, it is something that we probably need to change because of the 9%.
We've set aggressive targets.
We
So
have.
I'm going to expect that we're going to be yellow for some time. That's okay. Not okay, but if the goal is 100%, we were at 40. I don't expect we're going to get to 100% in a year.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but we're making progress.
Exactly.
There.
So that's another area, thank you.
Yeah,
And
no
I'll,
worries.
we'll get that one
We probably need to
updated.
just take a look at all of those.
Yes.
I was just going to, I don't know that there's a suggestion here, but some people are colorblind. And I'm just wondering with reds and yellows and greens, how we address that. That's just with any traffic light kind of report. I'm wondering for anyone just looking at this, even if you didn't have the yellows and the reds, I think you can make out where we're making progress.
Because of the speedometer.
Based on, right.
That's something that we can absolutely look into as well.
It's like your gas gauge. If you see it's going over there to the E, you know you don't have no gas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tricky because there are several members of my family who are colorblind, and they're colorblind with different colors. So it's tricky to find a color.
But I appreciate a traffic light report. I'm not saying, I like the way it is.
Sure.
I just want to make sure that there are other ways to gauge.
I wonder, maybe
how
putting
we're doing.
if it's yellow, put a Y, if it's red, put an R, you know what I mean? Like in the lower.
We could maybe talk about it at our next
corner
retreat.
of the-
Yeah, but that's a great,
Keep working on it. It's,
Yep.
again, but
yeah. Thank
it's
you.
the same data in a different format that hopefully is easier to access.
Trustee Walker?
Just curious, as we move towards those mandatory ADA compliance regulations, how well does this begin to fit into that? Or, well, when will those modifications or accommodations, maybe is a better term, begin to take place?
Oh, that's a great point. And Galapagos has done a lot of work on our website ensuring that those ADA compliances are in place. So it's definitely good input. This will eventually go on our website once all 4 goal areas are completed, and I will absolutely ask her for her feedback on that.
Yeah, I was just wondering.
Yeah,
how
that's a great point.
we're going to interpret all of
Right.
this data.
Mhm.
Clearly.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for this.
So that was my question, like the green, what would take it to be green, for example? Would this one up here, the percent graduation rate, if it's at 95, and right now it's what, 91, if that hits 95, would that technically be green?
Yes, significant progress. Meeting the goal, significant progress. Mhm. Yeah.
That's it.
All right, another one where we had a lot of good discussion here today, but we also had some really good discussion at our retreat. I think this was primarily to see the updates and to get to a point where we were communicating to our community how we're progressing in the dashboard. We've had a dashboard on our website for the past year and a half or so. Or two.
Yeah.
This is just a little bit more streamlined, a lot more streamlined, actually. And so I look forward to being transparent and sharing that and keeping it updated.
Yes, yeah, and that next update will be in June.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we're going to move to our next agenda item, which is public comment. Is there any public comment? Comment. Is there any public comment? Comment. Oh, yeah, we got it.
Thanks for getting out early.
This is early. It's light outside still. This is great. I love it. All right. Mr. Dianchi.
Thank you, President Weems. And I want to thank the board and staff for the wonderful acknowledgement you had for retirees earlier tonight. It was wonderful. We've done a great job over the past few years of showing our love for those people who spent their careers with us. So please keep up the good work with that. I would like to speak with you about our proposed bond and advocate that if we are passing a bond, that we do so in a way that supports our general fund. Over the past 5 years, we've been transferring general fund dollars to different funds and not spending it in the classroom. You record it as a budget expense, and then you artificially lower your fund balance even though the money hasn't been spent. I sat in the back of this room for a meeting the first time we did that post-COVID, and the reason given was we're going to put this money away so that we don't have to ask the community for a bond again. I am hoping that any and all resources that are available to the general fund are being put to classroom use. They are being put to attract and retain and keep the best staff members in this district. Teachers, paraprofessionals, bus drivers. We are in a shortage, and I'm just concerned that we have been transferring money, but we are going to ask for a bond. We have to make sure that all the those bond dollars are very restricted on how we can spend them. And I understand that, which leads me to say then the money we have been transferring, I would really like for us to look at how those can go to our classrooms, how we can try and lower class sizes, how we can hire more bus drivers so that we can have these great new buses providing our athletic transportation and our field trip transportation like they used to, rather than having parents subsidize it or third-party vendors make money off of us. So as you consider your final proposal for the bond, I really urge you to look at how can we leverage this to make sure that the dollars are going to the classroom and the dollars are going where they're closest to the students. Because no matter how many doors you have in a classroom, how beautiful they are, we know the people that work with those kids will have the biggest impact on their education and their lives, and we want to continue to provide that for our community. And so I hope that whatever the final result is, it is one that keeps the people in the classroom as the focus. You know, I saw the Winston Churchill quote up earlier, but I'm reminded by Rick Jones, whose name is on the building. He said, "There is nothing about the look of this place that makes it special. It is us who are here every day working with kids that make this place special." And I want to continue to honor that. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further public comment? Any further public comment? Seeing no further public comment, we're going to close the second public comment period, and we're going to move to action items. The first item was presented in detail at the regular board meeting on May 5th. It is an adoption, we are required to adopt a resolution in support of or in disapproval of the budget. Is there a motion? Mrs. Heinrich?
I move that the Board of Education adopt the resolution in support of the Oakland Schools General Fund operating budget for the 2026-27 school year and waive the reading of the resolution.
Motion made to adopt the resolution in support of the Oakland Schools General Fund operating budget for 26-27 and waive the reading of the resolution. And that motion was made by Mrs. Heinrich and supported by Mr. Jacinto. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Jacinto?
Yes.
Ms. Heinrich?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Hull?
Yes.
I myself am a yes. President Weems?
Yes. Thank you. That motion passes. Next is the Oakland Schools Board of Education 2026 election and designate and resolution. This item was presented at both the April 21st and May 5th meetings. There is only one person, one candidate, and so that makes it a pretty easy motion. Is there a motion? Mrs. Heinrich?
Yeah, and Gary Hoff was the one candidate, and I think all the board members had his resume forwarded, so everybody had an opportunity to look at him. I move that the Board of Education designate trustee Ronald Racinto as its representative and trustee Angie Smith as its alternate representative to serve on the Oakland 2026 body responsible for electing members to the Oakland Schools Intermediate School District Board of Education. Further, the board supports the candidacy of Gary Hoff for the one open position on the Oakland Schools Intermediate School District Board of Education for a 6-year term ending June 30th, 2032, and directs a designated representative to cast the district's vote for this candidate at the June 1st, 2026 election.
Support. Motion made by Mrs. Heinrich, supported by Mrs. Smith, to designate trustee Racinto as its representative and trustee Smith as the designate to serve on the 26 body responsible for electing members to the Oakland Schools Intermediate School District Board of Education. Further, supporting the candidacy of Gary Hoff for the position of Board of Education for a 6-year term, and directing the designated representatives to cast the district's vote for that candidate. Any discussion? Yes.
Just clarification, I think. I mean, I didn't look at the wording carefully until tonight, but we're just designating them as our representatives to cast our vote. They're not serving on any body or anything. They're just voting for us.
Correct.
So, okay.
Any other discussion? Something wrong? No? Any other discussion? Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Sure. Mr. Hull?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Heinrich?
Yes.
Mr. Jacinto?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
I myself am a yes. President Weems?
Yes, that motion passes as well. Thank you. And next we have approval of Title I iPad purchase, which was presented at the board meeting on May 5th. Mr. Walker?
I move that the Board of Education authorize the purchase of 110 elementary iPads from Apple Incorporated in the amount of $132,220, funded through Title I to support differentiated instruction, early interventions, and small group learning, with deployment to occur over the summer of 2026.
Support.
Motion made by trustee Walker, supported by trustee Heinrich, to authorize the purchase of 110 elementary iPads from Apple in the amount of $132,220. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, may we have a roll call vote?
Yes. Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Jacinto?
Yes.
Ms. Heinrich?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Hull?
Yes.
I myself am a yes. President Weems?
Yes.
Wonderful. Motion passed.
Next, we have approval of CTE high school laptop purchases. which was also presented at our May 5th meeting. Mr. Walker?
I move that the Board of Education authorize the purchase of 330 laptops from the VI.A, if I'm saying that correctly, Computer Products, in the amount of $439,560, utilizing REMC contract pricing and funded through the 2020 bond and CTE funds to replace end-of-life devices supporting high school CTE programs, with deployment to occur over the summer of 2026 and in place for the start of the 2026-2027 school year.
Support.
Motion made by Mr. Walker, supported by Mr. Recinto, to authorize the purchase of 330 laptops from VI.A, whatever you said, VI.A, thank you. VI.A Computer Products, you did, I forgot what you said, in the amount of $439,560, utilizing REMC contract pricing and funded through the 2020 bond and CTE funds. Is there any discussion? May we have a roll call vote?
Yes, Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Heinrich?
Yes.
Mr. Recinto?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
And myself am a yes, and President Weems?
Yes, that motion passes. Next is the approval of admin laptop purchases.
I can read it. I move the Board of Education authorize the purchase of 30 administrator devices from Apple Inc. in the amount of $57,840, funded through the 2020 bond to replace end-of-life devices in alignment with the district's 5-year replacement cycle, with deployment to occur in summer 2026.
Support.
Motion made by Trustee Recinto, supported by Trustee Smith, to authorize the purchase of 30 administrator devices from Apple in the amount of $57,840, funded through the 2020 bond. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, can we have a roll call vote?
Yes. Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Heinrich?
Yes.
Mr. Recinto?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
And myself am a yes, President Weems?
Yes.
That motion passes.
Next is the security cameras purchase. Mrs. Heinrich?
I move that the Board of Education authorize the purchase of security camera hardware from MCA in the amount of $690,766.01, utilizing REMC contract pricing and funded through the 2020 bond to upgrade and expand camera coverage across district buildings, with purchase to occur in summer 2026.
Support.
Motion made by Mrs. Heinrich, supported by Trustee Smith, to authorize the purchase of authorize the purchase of installation services from Complete Interactive Technology.
No, these are hardware.
The one right before that.
Oh, this is RMEC also. Oh, that's why I was confused. Okay. Motion made by Mrs. Heinrich, supported by Mrs. Smith, to approve the authorization of purchases of security camera hardware from MCA in the amount of $690,766.01. I'm mad at that 1 cent. Utilizing REMC contract pricing and funded through the 2020 bond. Is there any discussion? Yes.
I appreciate that we are upgrading these devices, and so that we can see incidents that are taking place in our buildings. We need to be able to hold people accountable. If we have students that are doing things, we don't need parents coming back saying, not my kid. We do have camera coverage. If we continue to do these things, I would support this 100%. I don't want a camera in our building and there are things going on and students are having issues with teachers or other students. I want them to be able to pull that camera footage up. And I don't want to hear where the camera was a little foggy, we had a little snow, and it's June. I want to be able to have everything taken care of. So I support this.
Thank you, Mrs. Smith. Any other discussion? All right, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Heinrich?
Yes.
Mr. Recinto?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
And myself am a yes, President Weems?
I'm a yes, thank you. The next item is the security camera installation purchase.
I move that the Board of Education authorize the purchase of installation services from Complete Interactive Technologies in the amount of $127,766.61, funded through the 2020 bond for the installation of security cameras across district buildings, with installation to occur in the summer and fall of 2026.
Support.
Motion made by trustee Jacinto, supported by trustee Heinrich, to authorize the purchase of installation services from Complete Interactive Technologies in the amount of $127,766.61, funded through the 2020 bond. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, can we have a roll call vote?
Yes. Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Jacinto?
Yes.
Ms. Heinrich?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Hull?
Yes.
I myself am a yes, and President Weems?
Yes. Thank you. This next one's a good one. Who wants it?
All right. I move the Board of Education approve the purchase of one 2027 Ford F-750 heavy-duty commercial truck in the amount of $115,396, one 2026 Ford F-350 Super Duty truck in the amount of $76,649, and one 2026 Ford F-550 Super Duty truck in the amount of $94,296, as outlined in the quotes dated April 28th, 2026 from Gorno Ford, for a total cost of $286,341, utilizing my deal pricing with funding from the district's general fund.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Hall, seconded by trustee Jacinto, to approve the purchase of one 27 Ford F-750 in the amount of $115,396, one 26 Ford F-350 in the amount of $76,649, and one 26 Ford F-550 in the amount of $94,296, with funding from the district's general fund. Any discussion? I'm just going to say I would lose at the Price is Right today. Totally lose. Can we have a roll call vote?
Sure. Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Jacinto?
Yes.
Ms. Heinrich?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Hull?
Yes.
I myself am a yes. President Weems?
I'm a yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And utility gators.
I move that the Board of Education approve the purchase of two 2026 John Deere utility gators at a cost of $30,027.13 each from John Deere and outfitted by Weingarts.
Support.
Less a trade-in value of $23,000 for an existing tractor, for a total cost of $37,054.26, utilizing my deal pricing with funding from the district's general fund.
Support. I guess I'm excited because these are, I like this.
You like John Deere gators? Okay.
She likes this
I want to drive one.
Motion made by trustee Jacinto, supported by trustee Smith, who likes gators, to approve the purchase of two 26 John Deere utility gators at a cost of $30,027.13, with a trade-in value of $23,000, for a total cost for both gators of $37,054.26, with funds to come from the district's general fund. Any further discussion? Seeing none, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Mr. Hull?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Heinrich?
Yes.
Mr. Jacinto?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
I myself am a yes. President Weems?
Yes, thank you. And that brings us to items from the treasurer.
I move that the Board of Education approve the expenditures as outlined in the expenditure printout dated May 19th, 2026 as follows. General Fund, $12,495,007. General Fund Athletics, $95,567. Capital Projects 2023 Bond Fund, $947,088. Nutrition Services Fund, $517,351. Benefits Stabilization Fund, $1,584,597. for a total of $15,639,610.
Support.
Thank you very much. Motion made by Mrs. Heinrich, supported by Mrs. Smith to approve the expenditure report. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? That motion passes. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda. A, approval of minutes. Number 1, May 5th, 2026 regular meeting. Number 2, May 7th, 2026 school systems blueprint committee meeting. Number 3, May 9th, 2026 board retreat. B, Head Start Director's monthly report. C, personnel items.
Support.
Motion made by Mrs. Heinrich, supported by Mr. Walker to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? That motion passes. Are there any reports from board representatives? Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned.
We had a